Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart?
Some people will go to any length to stay young forever.
Is that someone?
It's Madeline Ashton. She was a big star in the 60s.
I thought she was dead.
Oh, madam, you look younger every day.
Thank you, Rose.
But Madeline Ashton and her old friend Helen Sharp
I've lost men to her before. Mad hell!
are about to go too far.
A touch of magic. Drink that potion, and you'll never grow even one day older. Bottoms up. No warning.
Now a warning? Siempre viva! Live forever!
Ernest, I'm in the morgue. They think I'm dead.
You are, but you're not.
Are you telling me it doesn't hurt when I do this?
It doesn't hurt.
She's dead! She's dead, Ernest.
Now he's dead.
He's dead? Ernest is dead? Everybody's dead! You pushed me down the stairs. I'm so sweaty.
I don't think it's sweat, honey. I think you're defrosting.
It's alive.
Universal Pictures presents Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis,
It's a miracle!
and Goldie Hawn.
Look at me. I'm soaking wet.
Death becomes her.
I just have to make a telephone call.
Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday Night Freak Show. Every Saturday night, the Freak Show happens. We watch a movie, we sit down and talk about it for your edification and enjoyment. You can find us, all our past episodes, on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Podbay FM, CastRoller. Yeah, there's a couple new ones.
Whoa!
That's right. And, I can't
CastRoller.
remember the other one. But welcome aboard if you're joining us through,
Welcome aboard, CastRoller friends.
Yeah.
Nice to have you aboard.
10,000 people listening to us on CastRoller. Welcome.
CastRoller. I like CastRoller.
There you go. I'm your host, Colin. I'm surrounded by a bunch of internet radio superstars, including to my left,
David Albertson, special guest.
Whoa!
Hey, welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
And
Sean, and I'm dying.
for the
This is how you started the last
Oh, somebody,
podcast by dying.
somebody give me that potion.
He's dying, yeah.
This is Brent.
Hey, this is Tom.
And tonight we watched,
We watched Death Becomes Her, Robert Zemeckis.
that's right, from the year 1992. And this was Brent's pick.
Right, another middling 90s.
Hey, that's cold. That's cold.
Zemeckis.
Wow, we already know what Tom thinks about the movie.
No, I just gotta go with the...
30 seconds into the podcast.
I just gotta go with the middling 90s, 80s, 90s.
Right.
Seems to be your picks.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about Death Becomes Her?
Death Becomes Her stars Bruce Willis, Meryl Streep, and Goldie Hawn. It's kind of a tale about vanity. And people that, they're trying to hold on to their youth, and they're actually not. I don't know. I mean, we'll go through it, but it's a film about, right at its core value, it's a film about vanity. I mean, that's when you get right down to it.
And it's also a movie of awesome special effects.
Is it?
Oscar winning.
Yeah.
1992.
For the time. Yeah,
Indeed.
it is.
CG effects. Now, Robert Zemeckis had done, I would say Back to the Future 2 and 3 were both made prior to this.
Yes.
Correct.
Back to the Future 3 came out in, 89?
3 was 90? 91,
Was it 90?
I think. Because 2 was like that summer of 89.
Yeah.
And then 3 came out after that. But, yeah, so he went off and did Death Becomes Her. And then after that what did he do directly after that? There was another big one.
Oh, crap.
Was it Forrest Gump? Oh, it was Forrest Gump. Yeah.
Yeah, 94, right?
Yeah, because Forrest Gump is what actually made him, like the big name director, because that was Best
What,
Picture.
Back to the Future
and best...
didn't? Brent, I'm shocked.
It did for me. But I think that...
Were you a Zemeckis fan before Forrest Gump?
Yes.
Or did you go back and discover?
I've been a Zemeckis fan since I was 5 when I saw Back to the Future at the theater.
Oh, damn.
So that's what did it for me.
I think I saw all 3. I think I saw Back to the Future 3 at the old Belford Indoor Theater.
Oh, wow.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw, actually, off topic, I saw Dracula there, too.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, well, that's like the same. That's 92, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, the visual effects in this, the only reason that I mentioned them is because it was, this is still at the advent of like CGI technology where they were able to do these amazing things where, there's a couple digital morphs in it. There's, at one point a character gets a hole blown through them and you can see through, their torso.
Which I think that one of all of them really still stands up. I mean, I know or holds up, I should say, but I know it's really whatever. It's a cheap gimmick, but it's effective, I mean,
still, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because she walks around, she moves, she
sat on the couch with the spirit.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
The house falling on somebody in the window, standing in the windowsill part.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That was excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, no, still good.
But yeah, I mean, it's basically you start out with this, like this, I guess, Broadway musical, if we're going to go through it. And Meryl Streep is on stage. Did they say the year at that point?
78? 73?
Because it was 7 years after, and then 7 years after, and then
37 years later.
Yeah.
It's like 73 or 78.
But even the musical was kind of narcissistic. It was like me.
Oh, definitely.
Whatever. She sang the whole song.
Yeah.
And it was carried around. And
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing is, but we get to, and I let's just say it. This is one of Bruce Willis's best performances.
He's actually acting.
It's
amazing.
This is while he's still, or before he stopped giving a shit.
Right. Hey, go ahead, argue.
I'm gonna go with Hudson Hawk.
Oh, that's from this era, though.
Yeah, I know it was from this era, but I like Hudson. I like Bruce Willis and Hudson Hawk.
He was still acting back
then.
then.
There's a point where Bruce Willis just apparently just
quit.
Yeah, I mean he's
and the
still
ghost
in
of Bruce
stuff,
Willis.
I might not have caught it, but was Bruce Willis into her before he went to the play? Had she come to him as a patient?
No, I think
or
that...
was he just all excited because that was her friend and that's kind of the...
I think she was famous.
Right. She was famous, and that was, that's Goldie Hawn's character's, that's her
nemesis
bar to see, like if she introduces her man to Meryl Streep.
It's her test.
Yeah, that's her test.
So him being the only one up applauding after the show.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
The show is horrible.
They had never met before that. He was just so intrigued by her being her best friend.
Yeah, I think so. He actually enjoyed the performance. Yeah, but it's like a running gag that so Meryl Streep's like this aging Broadway or film and Broadway star.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And she has this long-standing relationship with Goldie Hawn, but she keeps on stealing Goldie Hawn's lovers over a period of time.
Yeah.
So Goldie Hawn's taking Bruce Willis, her current lover, to see this show to see if she, her feminine wiles will.
Right.
Yeah. And it doesn't work, but those scenes are fantastic.
Yeah.
At the beginning, when she turns on her charm and steals Bruce Willis away from Goldie Hawn. After that, that's where, I remember seeing this for the first time, where it was like when you see where Goldie Hawn goes to, because she goes into this funk of depression, where she's in her house full of cats, and she's wearing this gigantic fat suit, and she's eating, frosting,
covered full of frosting. To grab whatever.
Amazing.
I love that there was a cat in the cupboard. When she opens the cupboard up, there's a cat in there. And
she's watching this scene over and over. Meryl Streep, by this point, the film jumps 7 years a lot. It jumps ahead 7 years, and then we see another 7 years. It jumps ahead. But at some point, Meryl Streep made this film. What was it? Dark Windows?
Dark Windows, yes.
And
with Michael Caine. And I still want to know what movie that is that they stole Michael Caine from, because it's young Michael Caine.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe and cut in like the Meryl Streep reaction shots or whatever.
Right.
Fantastic stuff. That's Zemeckis, though. He kept on doing that. Forrest Gump, where he'd put like people in the same footage with...
Oh, the whole movie was that.
Yeah, everything was...
Alabama, everything like that.
Yeah.
And so he there's actually, I mean, like, this is at this point because Bruce Willis has been stolen away from Goldie Hawn by Meryl Streep. Goldie Hawn is this big fat person now, and she's watching this scene over and over again from the movie where Meryl Streep's getting strangled, I guess, to the point where she's got all these cats. She's not taking care of the damn cats. She's not paying her rent because the landlord's on the outside knocking on the door. She's eating frosting from the cupboards. You know, that's all she buys. Apparently, it's just frosting, and
you would figure cat food.
Yeah,
kicking garbage out of the way on her way to the
frosting. She looks demonic. Oh,
she does. Yeah, and the cops, you know, so she's nuts, right? She's just gone crazy with revenge and anger.
I love that when the cops finally you can't hear the cops banging on the door, and it seems like the entire Los Angeles Police Department has shown up in order to evict her. They all bust into the apartment and are dragging her away.
Yeah, which is strange because they take her to jail. So I mean, usually when you get evicted, do you go to prison or they just kick you out? I mean, I'm sure eventually there's.
Well, I mean, at this point, I don't know.
Well, they took her to the Crazy House. What was that? What was your comment?
From One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Who's got something to say now? Or what would you like to share? And
I would like to talk about.
As soon as she mentions this woman's name, everybody freaks out. That's probably all she's been talking about for the last 6 or 7 years, however the jump was from losing the cat house to being in the Cuckoo's Nest.
So she's got a fixation on, I think, at that point it establishes that she's going to get revenge. I think, she's saying, she's going to eliminate. She's fixated on killing Meryl Streep. What is her character's name? I can't even remember. We just watched the show.
Goldie Hawn is Helen Sharp.
Yep.
And Meryl Streep is Madeline Ashton.
Madeline Ashton.
Mad, Hell, and
Ernest. Oh yeah, Ernie.
Which ends up being Madder than Hell.
Madder than Hell.
Oh, sweet. Holy shit.
Really?
Did you figure that out?
On an iPhone.
Oh, no, I did not figure that out. I will not sit here and claim that in front of all you right here.
You should have
I looked at No, I can't do that.
You had me sold.
I can't. I can't claim that. But there it is.
Madder than Hell.
That's good.
Wow.
Well, that's the kind of humor that this movie's got, all, sunk into it. There's a bunch of, it's a slapstick comedy, I think, on the surface, but it's it's black humor. It's very dark, warped, kind of twisted humor, that's my
twisted.
bag.
Get it? It's funny. Her neck.
Wait, because the neck thing? I don't get it. No.
You don't get it? All right. See, it's she said twisted, and at some point in the movie, her head twists. You can even see in her neck.
Oh, I got it. I got
how that goes together? Okay, good.
There's a lot of obvious jokes in this movie that Sean was pointing out.
That I will be happy to point out to anybody.
During the film, yeah. Like the Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right.
When,
Dick, Tom, Harry.
Yeah.
Seriously, you didn't get that?
No, I got it.
All right. You're scaring me a little bit.
We were just,
but there was a lot of even Looney Tunes humor or something, and I thought there was a take of Bruce Willis doing it was what is it, the Roadrunner? Who does that? The double take.
Yeah.
It was that was spot on, perfect.
A lot of shovel bashing that's almost comedic in its.
Yeah.
The whole stairs. She's falling down the stairs, but not quite.
Right. She's at that angle. Right.
Send you on your way.
Yeah.
That unreal angle hanging on the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah, teetering backwards on your.
Yeah.
And
what do they call it? Cartwheeling?
I guess so. All it takes is one feather or breath of air, and then you go tumbling down.
Windmilling. Something like that.
So,
I like that better. Yeah.
Tom, are you the only one that hadn't seen it, or?
I haven't seen it, no. This is my first time seeing it.
So I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
Going in, did you know that it was going to be this outrageous fantasy, or did you think it was grounded somewhere in reality? And
no,
if so,
did you know they were going to die and then come back to life? Did it surprise you at all?
I mean, like, so, like, I've never seen this movie. Like, all that I know about this movie is literally the cover, right? So I've seen
the cover, the famous cover with he's holding the candle, the candelabra through the hole in Goldie Hawn's stomach and everything.
Right. So, you know, I've always figured, okay, so one of them's like probably a ghost, and therefore, because the candelabra is sticking through, it's probably some kind of dark comedy. So it's not going to be grounded in reality. It's going to be supernatural. You know,
right?
That's kind of what I expect. I mean, what I expected going in is pretty much what I got.
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
Because this film seems to me like one where going in not knowing exactly what it is, like the early stuff, you could be like, man, they're doing that really fake. You know, I mean, like it has. There's a whole, I don't know how, at what point like the film takes on, you know, like I guess shows its true colors of like that it is, like Colin said, it's pretty much a Looney Tunes.
It's as soon as you see her in the fat suit, I think like right there,
that's
true, it's like
yeah.
This is a comedically, you know, augmented version of, you know, a person just gone to pot, you know?
Yeah.
She's sticking her ass right in the camera. And then
great ass shots.
Container of frosting immediately after.
Yeah. I mean, it's done with a kind of comedic absurdity. I think that it maintains like the whole way through. Well, I mean, even I guess if you're looking at it, the opening number, you know, the dance number,
yeah,
kind of is at that level of.
That's true, and even like the first shot you see as the camera kind of comes down over the skyline of a city. I mean, it's a very, you can tell it's a model of some sort, or you know, I mean, it's not afraid to look fake.
I mean, this movie kind of, I mean, you know, kind of going over. You know, like, so far, you know, we've definitely, Robert Zemeckis, I think, has made the most appearances on the Saturday Night Freak Show.
There has been 3. So we watched Back to the Future.
There's Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
And
so we filled our quota.
We're going to try and play Beowulf, but it all went bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But there was Christmas Carol.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Christmas, yep.
Oh. Wow. He's like the most celebrated director of the Saturday Night Freak Show.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Kudos to Brent.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and again, Bob, if you're out there.
Yeah, Bob.
I love you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, and Brent, I mean, this won't be the last Robert Zemeckis if Brent has anything to say.
No, I guarantee you it won't be the last. There might even be a run of Zemeckis flicks, like one after another.
It's the summer of Zemeckis.
This reminds me a lot of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I guess its tone has a lot of Who Framed Roger. Because I mean, Robert
kind of got that feel.
Cartoony?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is. I mean, it's a cartoon movie, but it's a dark comedy. It's dark in its sense, right?
Doom is. I don't know about.
Well, no, I mean, I think the whole tone. I mean,
cartoons murdering people.
Cartoons murdering people.
A little darker.
And the main character, what was his name?
Eddie Valiant.
Eddie Valiant.
That's Roger.
All right, that's one for Dave.
Eddie Valiant's kind of like you know, he's like a grumpy, almost mean-spirited type person at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
it's in keeping with
the reality, like dark reality with fun or something like that.
But isn't that keeping with the...
he's a drunk and, you know, he's defending cartoon characters.
Right, but even, like, you know, I mean, it's murder and it's fairly dark, and this is also fairly dark. I mean...
But that movie was based on, like, film noir, you know, I mean, dark film.
Right,
you know, that it was trying to be something like that. This, to me, reminds me of, like, I think at the time, Zemeckis was doing the Tales from the Crypt TV show.
Yeah.
And this seems like, this was, like, and I don't know this, right? But it seems like somebody wrote, you know, like, this is an idea for, like, a Tales from the Crypt movie or Tales from the Crypt episode that kind of spun its way into, like, a feature-length film.
It totally is, because, I mean, one thing you get from all those Tales from the Crypt episodes is a lesson at the end, or it's almost like a fairy tale. And this is teaching you a lesson, about vanity and narcissism, like Dave said. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Watching it, I hadn't seen it, maybe since 93 or 94 or something. But watching it tonight, because I've been on this Tales from the Crypt kick, and I thought exactly what you said, that it could totally fit.
Well, I think that's had to be where his head was. A certain amount, because he was producing all of those shows, and he directed. Well, when was he did All Through the House, the episode of Tales from the Crypt, and that had to be 90. I mean, if we're saying that the movie takes 2 years to actually, go through development and be shot and come out. I mean, if he was doing stuff in 90 with Tales from the Crypt and this came out in 92, it's like... It seems like that was maybe something that was on his mind.
Yeah,
I think The Frighteners also, strangely enough, was a movie that started off as a Tales from the Crypt, that was an offshoot or something from Tales from the Crypt.
That was Zemeckis produced that, right? But he didn't.
Did he?
I think he did.
Yeah, he produced it, and then Peter Jackson.
I think that was commissioned originally as like a Tales from the Crypt movie.
Yeah,
and then spun its way out into being its own thing.
That might make its way to the freak show.
It should. It definitely should.
Might.
Yeah. This is also the last film that I think Zemeckis worked with Don Burgess, with Dean Cundey, and then after that he switched to Don Burgess as his cinematographer.
See, Dean Cundey's always had like an interesting run in, from my opinion, just because I'm a devoted fan. Like what you are with Robert Zemeckis, I am with John Carpenter.
Right.
And Dean Cundey like defines the early John Carpenter like film style, And then those were low budget films, and Dean Cundey got, I think, taken out of low budget into big budget movies it was either Zemeckis or Spielberg. It was Zemeckis, right? Because Zemeckis shot Back to the Future with Dean Cundey.
Right, yeah.
But here it's just kind of funny to watch, like, him he did the fucking Halloween scene.
He did, yeah.
The scene in Halloween where Jamie Lee Curtis is in the foreground, the shape, Michael Myers sits up behind her. They do that exact same scene in this.
Sitting on the ground on the floor,
and how could you not? I mean, like this. It's more tongue in cheek, but I mean,
sure, they had to know what they were doing.
Oh yeah, and it works.
Is there any kind of like a Robert Zemeckis? Like there's a Spielberg comic kind of going through E.T. or Jaws or something like that. There's always that kind of weird signature, kind of hidden Easter egg, if you want to be computery, kind of thing. Is there any? Have you ever noticed that, or was that before? Or are these movies before people could sneak that in? Or
like what's his calling card?
I like the Evil Dead's. There's the Camaro, or not the Camaro, but the Monte Carlo,
right?
From Spider-Man and things like that. But I never noticed that. They obviously can't stick a DeLorean.
I don't know that he has anything. Does he? I don't know that he does that.
I think like his main calling card, if you could call it that, would be. He's always, before the animated stuff, he's always used special effects in a sense where you wouldn't know that they were special effects, like in a realistic environment. I mean, Death Becomes Her aside, because obviously you notice a giant hole through Goldie Hawn, or Meryl Streep with a twisted neck. But that's what I've noticed over the years, the things that critics say about him. Like Forrest Gump, I think it's really strong where you're watching footage of, Forrest talking to Nixon or to JFK or any of the presidents. Obviously, that's not real, but they went through and made it look as real as possible. I think like stuff like that is going to hold up forever. There's there's scenes in Castaway where like the leaves and the branches or the grass is all CG. And it's like you would never look at it and think that it's CG. But because they needed it to blow with the wind and the wind had to change at the specific time, they actually ended up doing it with all, CG elements. And
I never thought any of that was CG.
Yeah, I mean,
there's also, I think that's Zemeckis' thing. He's tricking you with CG so much that, like, I'm thinking there was actually a scene in this where, I'm building to a point here, but where I think is it Bruce Willis or Meryl Streep's character wakes up, and then the maid comes in to wake her up, and it looks like the maid is coming in from opens the door and comes in behind the bed, And then the camera eventually pulls back, and you realize that the maid came in through the mirror.
Yeah.
There's a mirror shot.
There's actually tons of mirrors.
But that almost seemed like that was a dry run for a shot that he did in Contact, which I didn't even like. I had to go back and watch the shot in Contact because I'm like, wait, what the fuck just happened here? He's following a little girl down a hallway in slow motion, and she reaches for a medicine cabinet and opens it, and then like the camera is somehow like inside the medicine in the mirror, like I don't know, in the 3-dimensional space of the mirror.
Yeah,
you'd have to see the shot, but it was just like, wait, wait, how did he get his camera? What just happened? You know, you're aware if you're paying attention to that stuff. Like after the fact, you're like aware that something unnatural has just happened.
He does
from
that
his perspective.
In What Lies Beneath. I mean, there's these long shots where the camera will go like into a truck, go through the whole console of the truck, you know, and end up on a close-up on the key turning to start the engine, which a camera can never physically do, but when you're watching it, like, it just feels like it's real, you know? I mean, it's fluid.
Right. You remember that shot also on What Not Lies Beneath where there's like Michelle Pfeiffer's character goes down on the floor, this hardwood floor, and the camera's above her, and then it drops below the floor to like look up at her.
Yes.
And it's like, wait, what happened to the floor? Like, that was a solid floor a minute ago, and the camera just like dropped into it. And it's looking up like she's laying on a plate of glass or something.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of trickery. Also, I noticed, and you know, again, I'm just basing this off of specifically What Lies Beneath and Death Becomes Her. As I was watching this, you know, Tom and I have been going through a bunch of Hitchcock movies and just watching every single one of them on like Wednesday nights. And in this, I could see like stuff where he's borrowing from Hitchcock. I mean, that whole idea of giving Bruce Willis's character the glass of whiskey that's been poisoned, and you're following it around when they're like, when's he going to take? Oh, he's not going to take. When's he going to take a drink? No, he sets it down. You know, that's a Hitchcockian.
You could be a fool to not drink out of it. It's so giant. But you go on your diatribe and spill it all over as you hand gesture around.
That's it. Awesome comic.
I mean, it's almost like I have a bottle of whiskey.
Here's your breakfast.
You might want some breakfast.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, they wake him up. The maid wakes him up with a Bloody Mary, apparently.
Do I see an angel before me? Oh, you're sweet. Not you. Fucking Bloody Mary.
And throws the celery to the side.
Obviously that first mirror shot is like, once you do realize it, because, I was tricked the same way Colin was. I was like, oh, this is, you know, you assume it's a regular shot, and then they pull back and it's a mirror. But then, like, that calls attention to all the other mirror shots in this film, which are, there are a lot of mirror shots.
That's what I kept noticing. Right. I kept noticing to, like, call it out. Be like, man, there's something weird.
This is the first time I realized it, because I think I was too young the first time I saw it. But it's, you know, I mean, it is just reinforcing that the only reason for a mirror is to see how you look to other people, right? And so, like, shooting everything through the mirror, because it's always at an angle, and it's the character looking into the mirror, you know? I mean, it's like a Brian De Palma flick. I mean, they're like getting around those angles. Maybe it's not as impressive as like the nightclub scene in Scarface, but you know, it's still it's a feat to have the entire crew not show up in the reflection of the mirror, because cables
awesome
and shit.
One of those. You ever seen the Kenneth Branagh version of Hamlet? There's a scene that takes place in this room with all these mirrors. Well, shit, even like Enter the Dragon, but they had to actually like move the mirrors that you can't see it when you're watching the movie, but the mirrors are moving as the camera moves through the space, so that you're never reflecting the.
And it's something that you can't do anymore, because you know, well, you can, but they'll just take them out digitally. Where back in the day, if you showed up in the reflection, that shot was done. You have to throw it out. But like now, obviously, even they take out the reflection in people's glasses and stuff. Actually, in Gravity, they added a reflection of like a space crew, like a film crew up in outer space filming it. Like it was the reflection over the helmet, and it was obviously they were never there, but they're all like in the whole space garb and everything.
Really?
There's a guy with a boom mic. Yeah, that's
funny.
It's pretty hilarious.
I didn't actually pick up on that, but you're right. That's like a theme of the movie. It's always the characters. I mean, in a movie about vanity, all the characters are looking at themselves in the mirror.
Right. Yeah.
I love that first shot that we see. It's not the first shot that I think introduces characters, but when we see, or it is, we see Goldie Hawn and Bruce Willis, and they're sharing the same shot because he's reflected in a mirror, and that was like kind of one of those moments of staging where you're like, it takes a tech-savvy director to come up with that kind of, he's an assured hand as far as like, kind of like Spielberg is with.
Well, when he was convincing her, Goldie Hawn, that he was not going to leave her.
No, that's the shot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He kept going back and forth, and then immediately afterwards, he's running on the aisle with clothes.
Yeah.
But that was definitely, I think they tried to reassure you, like you said, create a stable character by showing him that way. But it didn't work out because immediately you go into him running down the aisle. It's not even, will you take so-and-so? It's just da-da, and the doors burst.
Yeah.
They're married.
Yeah.
Believe me, Helen, you have nothing to worry about. So Helen does lose Bruce Willis to Madeline.
There you go.
And they live in a horrible existence where they hate each other, many years on. And 7 years later. And Bruce Willis still pines for Helen. And
technically, it's 14.
Well, yeah, from the start.
Oh, that's
it's 14 because the 7 years later is the fat Goldie Hawn, and then 7 years after that, we see the horribleness that is the marriage of Madeline and Ernest.
And in this period of time, Madeline has aged considerably, and that seems to be like the focus of her fixation is like, I'm not looking young anymore. And when they go to a book signing that Helen is hosting, Helen turns out to be like this slinky, she's 50, but she looks, like she's 30.
And again, this is something that Bob Zemeckis does brilliantly. It's the same way in Back to the Future. He casts young or youngish actors and then ages them prior to showing them young, and the reveal then is it almost looks like, wow, how did they make her look that young, but she was actually that younger age, and then they just make her look older, and I think it's flawless. I mean, sure, some of the wrinkles you can tell. I mean, they've gotten a lot better at it throughout the years.
Sure, like you can tell on Bruce Willis, you can tell the makeup in order to bring out the creases, the laugh lines in his face.
Yeah,
that little extra pale makeup where the 5 o'clock shadow should be and everything.
Yeah,
just to age him up and pudge him out.
And I think the high def actually showcases that more so than.
Well, here's a question for you. Now that we've actually gone on, what are we, 12? No, we're 22 years since this movie was made. How accurate was the makeup? You've seen these people now.
Yeah, well, that's
what when I saw this, and it's like Meryl Streep, and she's kind of looking like she does now.
She does. That was what I thought was crazy. Like everybody saw Meryl Streep at the Oscars not too long ago, and she looks like this character when she's old. She does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Goldie Hawn in forever.
Goldie Hawn,
she dropped off the face of the planet.
I don't think she aged as well.
I don't know. Yeah, she's been mummified for the last at least 7 years.
Yeah, she looks pretty rough.
Somewhere in the dark.
Where have you seen her?
She started looking rough. Like
she shows up.
Yeah,
she shows up at the awards.
Yeah,
but that's about it. That's the only place you see her. But she wasn't looking too great in this movie, to tell you the truth. Even the young version of her.
Like First Wives Club or something. I don't know the last thing that she was in.
But we have her.
That's the last thing I remember.
Her daughter, which is
Kate Hudson.
Yeah, which is like an even better version of a young Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, it's a clone of Goldie Hawn, the young version.
Yeah,
indeed,
which is fantastic. Contact, Colin, you kept mentioning that. That may have been after this, and in between this and Forrest Gump. But
I think it was after Forrest Gump.
What was it after?
97?
Was that with Jimmy Foster?
Yeah.
The
Carl Sagan thing with the.
And again,
space trail.
I'm going to stop washing his balls, but the director was not supposed to be Bob Zemeckis for that film, but whatever happened, the studio had to fire the director, and they brought him in, and he whipped them into shape. Because that's a fantastic film. Bob, he's coming on at the point where we're already in production. Usually a director will have maybe a couple years of pre-production to work everything out, and he's just going into that set already. The actors are there, like they're shooting on that day, and he's just saying this is going to be this, we're going to do this. That's again that assurance that you're talking about, and that a director that knows his craft so well can just go on to a film set and just kick ass. All right, that's it. No more. No more ball washing.
So at this point, the now that Madeline is deeply upset that Goldie Hawn looks as young as she does, and is trying to steal back Bruce Willis, Madeline gets an invitation from a plastic surgeon to go visit a special lady in the Hollywood Hills, which is Isabella Rossellini.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now we have to pause for a moment and have the Isabella Rossellini Appreciation Society.
I would appreciate her body double more, to tell you the truth, but go ahead.
Have you ever seen Blue Velvet?
No,
Yes.
I have not, actually. It's a Dennis Hopper, right?
Wait, what's this movie you speak of? Blue Velvet.
That's right. I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
Is she naked in it?
She
Heineken.
is in...
Fuck that shit.
It's one of the most heinous... Like, she's naked in it, but it's like... It's this kind of like sexual abuse that she's taken from Dennis Hopper's character. And at the time, I remember like people were going like, what actress would debase herself in this way that, that she does in that movie? And it's kind of interesting that, that was
And
86.
she was naked. It was almost like it was kind of... She's sprawled out. What was it? She had just gotten into the... or raped by Dennis Hopper, is that
something,
what it was?
yeah, and she comes walking down the street.
Out, buck naked in front of
Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan. And he's supposed to, soothe her, but, they're all looking at him like she's, this nutcase walking down the road naked. And it was just a really twisted scene, for that time.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle MacLachlan, is that Muad'Dib?
Yes, yeah, from Dune, and also Agent... Oh, crap. From Twin Peaks. Agent...
Yes.
Nobody's got this. Nobody watched Twin Peaks.
Nope.
Special Agent Dale Cooper.
At home.
There you go. Brain still works.
I just know him as
Apple Pie.
You need
Muad'Dib.
Yeah. And that unfortunate guy who was in Showgirls and nearly got drowned in the waterfall with Elizabeth Burke.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Fortunate or unfortunate? I don't know. That was the most athletic sex scene I've ever seen in my life.
That's pretty fortunate, I think.
Yeah. Showgirls.
Yeah. Isabella Rossellini, right?
Well,
okay, when I tell you this, you tell me if you recognize her. She's the daughter of Ingrid Bergman from Casablanca.
Huh.
Wow.
See it?
I don't.
I see it.
I mean, I don't
I
see the daughter.
suppose.
Have you seen Casablanca?
Yes.
We never know, because,
I know, we're pretty hit or miss as far as that goes, but it's been like 10 years.
Yeah. Well, we just saw it like this past winter, so.
Well, Sean, why do you think that she has a body double?
Because I read that she has a body double.
What?
Could you say that into the microphone so everybody can?
I'm sorry, did I ruin that?
Man.
Did I ruin that for you?
So,
just shut up.
Should I have just let you guys have your fantasies?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
I was reading it off a shitty website anyway. It's probably not even true.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
This is like totally bursting my bubble. That had to be for the ass shots. Okay, so Isabella Rossellini's character. There's no way
just
that
for
that
the
was
ass shots. But
all
what about
a
the
body
side
double.
boobs?
Obviously.
She wears a skirt and basically a big necklace.
yeah.
Well, that's her.
Yeah.
You can see the pasties, though.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, again,
I could have sworn I saw a nipple on a side boob shot. There was a side boob shot. I could have sworn I saw a nip.
I don't think so. I think
these are the important things we want to cover on this
There's a lot of
podcast.
sexual undertones in that movie. The building they pulled up to was phallic, it had this huge lit up tower and it came down to like a
all right,
ball-shaped
so I want to make an
entrance.
observation.
Oh, boy.
On Isleen Rose. Is she the devil?
No.
Yes, she is the devil. I believe that in that movie.
Yeah, I think it's open to interpretation. I think she very well could be some sort of sorcerer.
They kind of are making a deal with the devil, yes.
Yeah.
She gets very angry when you don't want to take the potion.
Yeah, I know. And like her symbols, like
She's
an
going nuts.
S
The
is
wind's
like
whipping
the
up
snake.
in the pool house.
I thought her symbol was a crucifix. Which I thought was kind of weird. It's like, if that was made like a couple of years later, that should have been an Ankh, right? The symbol, the Egyptian symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's close.
But it was a crucifix. And I'm like,
It's an L.
Well, they threw
in the box.
Oh, in the box? Yes.
Yeah, with that contains the potion. The potion
was an actual. It looked more Ankish. Like I thought it was curved.
Yeah,
at the top.
it looked more on. That was an Ankh.
But she takes out the knife, right? It makes up part of the cross, and then stabs him in the finger.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm talking about the pin.
No, I was talking about what he's talking about. The box.
I know you're talking about the box. I thought that was an Ankh, which is a symbol of life, and that makes sense. But I'm talking about the pin, and it means that you're initiated into the club.
Yeah, but we don't
like
think the box was an Ankh. We think that the box was a crucifix.
I think it was a crucifix.
I thought it was curved at the top. I thought it was an Ankh. Well, that's what I thought. I thought it was an Ankh.
I'm going with the Ankh. I'm siding with this guy. Tiebreaker, Dave. Tiebreaker.
Dave is into.
Dave, you're the tiebreaker on this.
I don't know.
Make a call. Make a call. Make a call.
Okay, so anyway, in the box is a potion that when the user drinks it, it gives them eternal life, which has one of the good jokes in the movie where she's like, "Drink it, and you will be forever young." And and then she drinks it, and then she's like, "Now a warning."
Yes, like the devil.
Now a warning.
If you take the deal, there's always a something else that comes along with it. The postscript.
Yeah.
But you did this. But by the way, thanks for doing that. And then you have to do this.
Yeah. They're tricking you.
And what, of course, she's not telling her is that
you are forever. Eternal life means you're undead.
But you know what? I mean, the genies do that too, right? When they grant you wishes, they never turn out the way you want them. I mean, the monkey
that's leprechauns.
paw does that.
I think you're thinking leprechauns.
Leprechauns too. Yeah. Yeah, that's off the table, I think. Like they know
I was going to say, I think that's automatically off the table because I think genies are smart to that at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
They're like, we're not doing
Can't
that.
do it. That's cheating.
You can't wish for more genies. You can't wish for...
I never thought about wishing for more genies. Oh, damn.
Come on, guys.
I want 5 more genies. Make another genie.
Every day.
I want more of you fuckers here now.
Semi-phenomenal, nearly cosmic powers.
Yeah. Could be. So, yeah. She's like, okay, that's a fair deal, right? I just have to take care of myself. Well, what happens that fucking night? The same night when she goes home? It's the same night, right?
It's the same night.
Same night, yeah.
Which is a bummer, man, for her. Because she's going out, she's enjoying the fact.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis doesn't notice. Like, he's like, did you do something with her hair? It's like,
she looks all young. She took the potion.
Yeah.
It does revitalize her.
It does.
A boob lift, a butt lift.
It does.
The boob lift thing. They made a pneumatic bra for this. But it didn't work.
Oh, come on, man.
So they had to have like a set assistant reach his hands around and push the boobs up into the proper places when it was time.
Oh, what a fucking tough job. That must have been.
That's awesome. And Back to the Future Part 2, the power laces were just strings.
Oh, look at what I said.
What are you doing?
What was that?
That movie is magic.
No, that was Tom throwing his mic down and deafening the poor audience member who's listening to this with a headphone.
This is your warning, Tom.
Yeah.
That's disgust.
So, what did you think? They were real power laces?
I thought they were real boobs being never mind.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right.
Anyhow.
So, yeah, that night, what happened? She's all revitalized. She comes back to her house.
Mad.
He gets drunk and mad because he's been talking with Helen.
Helen's already showed up,
and
hoping she's gone away.
Yeah,
and then she's out getting her magic potion, and then she tries to seduce Bruce Willis, and then she shows up later.
I love that scene where where Bruce Willis and Helen start conspiring to kill Madeline. In this really contrived, again, this is going back to Hitchcock, showing you how, or sorry, that's maybe not the right word, but showing you how that we're gonna do this elaborate plan of drugging her and then sending her off, the top of Mulholland Drive.
Yeah,
all that stuff is
20 bottles of liquor.
Yeah, the whole car's like awash in booze.
I threw her down the stairs. That wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah, but it's classic though. Like it's classic that the narration and then what we actually see reflects exactly what the narration was saying.
Yeah,
like you'll call the police and tell them that you saw a woman swerving on Mulholland Drive. Yes, I saw a woman swerving on Mulholland Drive. Yeah, I love that.
It's like one of the Ocean's movies where like they tell you the plan, but you're actually watching it happen as they're narrating it.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't turn out. They go back, and instead of doing the plan, what happens? She teeters on the edge of the stairs.
In his gray sweater, or no, his
brown cardigan. Yeah.
Brown sweater and his brown tie and his brown pants.
Yeah.
The whole movie just was
very brown,
very dull. He was just so beaten down, and
I think he does a great job of
being the
schlub.
By the time you're 14 years later, like you're seeing a different character than you saw in the beginning. This guy that was kind of full of life and was interested in this woman, that he just saw on stage, and then 14 years later, he's passed out up in his study, just hungover. He can't even
going off.
Beeper going off.
Is it awake?
So, because he was a doctor, right? And then
I think he was a plastic surgeon. Became a mortician,
right?
Or we would dress people up for their funerals. Yeah, spray paint.
Again, the emphasis, the feelings of vanity and stuff like that.
And that whole exactly. It's reinforcing that, but also at the same time, like there's no better. I mean, it's a really easy way to show like how far this character has fallen. Just like showing his. I mean, you get it from that first shot of him, passed out in his study, but then showing that he works at a mortuary.
You can just tell from his hair.
Yeah, everything about him. Even like I think the way he carries himself, and there's even, it's weird because in the beginning of the film also you get this impression that these are two liberals, right? Because politics does come up in the film. I can't believe I'm talking about politics without Travis here, but when it's Bruce Willis and Goldie Hawn, Ernie and Helen at the play, you get this idea that they're. I didn't see them as like Republicans or whatever. I didn't see them as conservative.
She's kind of mousy and sweatered up and just.
She's got kind of like the bangs thing, like a librarian or something. Yeah, but then later on, there's a line when he's with Madeline. Yeah, there's a line where he's like, something about. You're a Republican. You're not supposed to do this or something. But
no, the line is, what do you think they'll do to you in prison? With you being bald, you're soft Republican, and a Republican.
Yeah, you're a soft, bald, overweight Republican. What do you think they're going to do with you in prison? Yeah.
Well, I love it. It's like at the time, Bruce Willis obviously started out in, Moonlighting, right? Which was basically kind of a lighthearted, slapsticky kind of comedy.
Yes.
And then, he redefined himself, I think, with Die Hard, and became like the everyman action hero, which then like every fucking action hero became,
didn't redefine himself with Hudson Hawk.
You can't see it, folks, but everybody is shaking their heads.
So, I don't think anybody could hear that.
People that aren't here are shaking their heads right now.
But so Die Hard was 1988, Die Hard 2 was 90, so this was like his opportunity to kind of do something, different. And I think he throws himself like all in.
He does.
Stick,
Yeah, but I mean, like, so maybe it's going back to the Moonlighting kind of days. He gets to do that kind of stuff again, but he plays it really schlubbish at the beginning, but after he kills Madeline, he becomes like this manic, Bruce Willis. That scene where he's running around the house.
He becomes a mad scientist.
Turn off all the lights. That was oh my God, we've killed her. We got to turn off
the lights. Find the shovels. Body's still here.
He turns off 5 lights and makes a drink.
The movie becomes like this awesome comedy of errors where, it turns out Madeline because she took the potion, can't die. Well, she's dead, but she's, still reanimated. It calls to mind scenes from Return of the Living Dead. Only this, they take her to the doctor. She's at room temperature.
Let me eat your brains.
Yeah, we needed some of that. That's where I was like, oh, this is going to be a zombie movie. But no.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to make an observation. This movie, to me, felt like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that's the camera work and the color, the palette.
I think it was the time. I mean, there was Addams Family, Beetlejuice.
Especially when she's like, they're knocking their heads off and the heads is twisted, stuff like that. So the fact that they're dead and I don't know, it just felt like Beetlejuice to me.
It's a dark supernatural comedy,
whimsical,
with a lot of wide-angle shots.
I think that's what you were doing with the time, and that's what was going on. I think a lot of those movies were that way in 1992.
I think
there wasn't all this fantastic special effects going on. You had to deal with, this movie could have easily been a play. You know what I mean? You could still put this on a stage and get away with half of the shit. I mean, probably 90% of what goes on in this movie, other than the hole through a belly. But you're absolutely right. Beetlejuice was the same kind of way. You could get away with all this, pop through a Jack in the Box kind of special effects kind of surprise and that kind of stuff. But Beetlejuice. That's how it was. Addams Family, Beetlejuice, Death Becomes Her, things like that. I think that's just what they were doing back then.
And they all share, now that you're mentioning those titles specifically, all have this kind of, they have a madcap energy that extends not only from the performances, but even into the camera work. The camera is always, and see, I always think that goes back to Evil Dead 2 or something like that. That maybe started this, and Barry Sonnenfeld, picked up on Tim Burton and Zemeckis, but there is a lot of rushing camera, wide angle, distorted, shots and stuff like that.
And we have to mention Terry Gilliam too, because I think he took that to a whole new level.
Yeah, and he probably started it.
Maybe he did. Yeah.
What?
With everything.
You wouldn't be far from dragging the first Batman into this kind of scenes that they were doing. He kind of come rushing down into a front of a theater. There's no city. There's just people walking.
Yeah, that first shot does.
Kind of thing, it's a weird kind of stage set if you're going to have a feature film, but still you're only doing it in this so many feet of a.
That's what it is.
An environment.
I get what you're saying, because when you watch the first Batman, you can see that stage, like you said, the stage setting. You can see that kind of backlot looking.
Yeah.
Even in the cities where it's the parade.
Right. Beetlejuice, all he's doing is going over a train set, at the beginning.
Right.
And then you're into the house, and then you're really into no more than anything bigger than the basement that we're sitting in, change out the back wall and we're, at a different scene. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, and this movie just builds a gigantic set. It's a Hollywood movie house, it's a palace of marble and, marble staircase.
The excess, yes.
Just like the house in the Bruce Willis and Madeline's house, or is it say her name?
Yeah.
I mean, it's this fantastic house, and he's always looking down this grand staircase that are either rushing out the door or coming in the door. It's this huge kind of thing, but there's really no
that
reason.
And the fireplace.
Yeah, and then the fireplace.
And thunder and lightning always coming through the windows.
That's true. And I mean, you get the impression that the house is a lot bigger than what you see, because you spend most of your time in that foyer, and then maybe in the study or the library or the fireplace or
the garden.
But that's all kind of
shotgunned
central to the house. It's not you get the feeling like there's more wings.
None of these rooms couldn't be the same place, as far as the set spins around.
Yeah, they totally could. Yeah,
on a stage set.
Maybe we should do this.
There's only that one wide shot where he's like, "That's it, I'm gone," and he's like, "I've had it," and then it shows them downstairs, while he walks up the stairs and goes to his room.
Yeah, he was pissed.
He's like, that's it. I'm done.
There's a lot of long shots and long sweeping shots in this movie, like kind of a couple long takes in it, which
a lot of hallways.
It's like what you were talking about earlier. It's early Zemeckis doing what he does. I mean, he advances it farther, like you guys were talking about with What Lies Beneath and everything. It's like he's trying to do what he would do later, but the technology hasn't let him go that far yet. So in this early stuff, he's using the mirrors, he's doing the wide sweeping crane shots and everything inside the house. He's doing all this early stuff before the technology allowed him to advance to what he would do in later stuff. And he does it very well. Like it's
he's fully taking advantage of the technology that was available then too, just trying to figure out how to exploit the space.
That's all we do here on the Saturday Night Freak Show. We suck on George
Zemeckis. Robert Lucas.
In Tom's world, it would be
Tom
George.
Spielberg, all those people.
Isn't there, in this movie, really wasn't there only a couple of scenes where there was multiple people in it, other than just the three main characters, like going to the, or crashing the party at the, witch's house.
And the book.
Then you have all these people here, and then you're
with Elvis.
Like that, but everything would have just been just those three interacting, going back and forth,
and
falling downstairs, getting caught up in a fight in the parlor, this and that, almost like a Clue-ish kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking Clue. I was like, that was in my mind as you were,
and that gives way to the whole, it could be a play idea, because it's just so many, the minimal characters.
Right. When I was watching this movie, I'm like, Clue.
Also might make its way to the
This reminds me of Clue.
It's hard to get people to play. It's like a little thing.
Well, I mean, I guess in the movie, so we find out that the potion gives the secret of eternal life to these characters, and once they try to kill each other and can't, they make up. This long time animosity goes away, and they determine that they need Bruce Willis, the plastic surgeon, to maintain them for life. So then the focus of the movie becomes getting him to take the potion, and he wants nothing to do with it. But they take him back to the... I guess we're calling her the witch.
Liesel.
The devil! Take it back to the devil!
Palace, where there's a party going on where she entertains all these people who,
including Elvis.
The potion, Elvis, James Dean.
There's Marilyn Monroe is there.
Fantastic
that was hackneyed, when you go, well, stay out of public. I know we have people showing up every now and then, and then they instantly show Elvis, and that's been so done. I mean, that was done back then.
Was it done back then?
I don't even think it goes on anymore.
But back then, there was still Elvis sightings.
It's still just
we don't see Elvis anymore.
I don't think so. I haven't heard of it.
The Inquirer said, give me a break.
When I was a kid, I saw Elvis at a diner down in Southern Illinois. I did.
You didn't.
I totally did. My dad can vouch for me on that one.
I think since the Inquirer started reporting on actual, quote unquote celebrities, it gave up the mom had 3 alien babies with 4 heads.
I saw Elvis as a kid.
Elvis. Prove it.
Oh, man.
We're taking this outside after the free show.
Yeah? Gonna do some whiskey and we're gonna fight. I'm gonna break this bottle and stick you with it.
Wait.
There you go. If Sean shows up dead, then we will know who this is.
Then we know what's for dinner for next week.
There's going to be a bonus podcast, listeners. I'm going to telecast the entire fight. I'll let you know blow by blow who wins this.
Yeah.
Although Tom's got Elvis on his side, so
yeah. But the film has an interesting wrap-up where we cut to 37 years in the future after
the future Colin
refuses to take the potion, and
the future 37 years would be now the future.
It was a joke. Never mind. That's on go.
The future Colin. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
The future.
Thank you. Good boy. Thank you very much. All right, keep going.
There it is.
Thank you.
It's always the future.
It is.
Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
It's not a comet in the sky.
Yeah,
he's always in the future.
He doesn't waste time with the present.
Not so much in Beowulf.
Although he does deal with the past a lot, too.
Yeah. Beowulf. He goes really far in the past.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. That theory was
we'll just
shot
take that theory apart and continue on with what.
All right.
Well, now hold on. I mean, before we get to that 37 years ahead, there is one of the most classic physical comedy scenes in movie history, I think. And I think you guys would agree.
I'm glad you always add that.
Is
I think.
And usually it's wrong.
Hey,
it's usually wrong.
Well, that's
subjective.
Yeah. How can you say that what I think is wrong, Tom?
Subjectively wrong.
So you're saying my opinion is wrong?
Usually.
Please tell me you were about to talk about Bruce Willis's double take.
Who's fighting now?
Oh, well, no, there is the double take.
That's awesome.
It is. That was great.
Wacky.
Wait, what?
That
is the pinnacle of Bruce. He goes.
But
you can't see
and
this.
That's not even
it's so good.
No, yeah, it's just he must have had to practice that.
Yeah,
that's so good.
As well as the film comes to its climax, he's running up to the top of this tower, the Devil's Tower or whatever it is.
He's trying to escape. Yes,
he's trying to escape, and he ends up out on the roof or like kind of at this slanted thing, and he's climbing out and he slips.
It has to be the devil. That's just my answer.
I mean, it makes sense.
But that was a wicked elevator. It was foot
pedal, yeah, and there's only 3 options. Like, fuck, all right.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah,
I want that. I want that, right?
I also want a case full of shotguns.
Well, who doesn't?
Oh, yeah.
You gotta do that.
Yeah.
You gotta have that.
You should make it where your TV like slides up, and there's shotguns behind it. That'd be perfect.
Ooh.
Like in
we can make that happen.
All right. Well, anyway, you were saying.
Move on.
He's on the roof of the tower.
He's on the roof. He's climbing out. I don't know what his plan is.
He's trying to escape. He's going to the exit on the other side, but he's got to climb the roof to get to it.
Thank you. He's got the exit on the other side, and he slips and he falls. And his suspenders get caught in the gutter.
And the gutter's pouring on his head.
and it falls out.
Bruce getting all the gutter water on his head.
It is good.
And then
it's funny.
I know, it's great.
Not to make it worse, but the gutter kind of swings out. So now he's kind of just suspended here, like a puppet, like the puppet that they made him.
Exactly.
And he's sitting there.
Exactly.
And the only 2 that come up to save him are these 2 women that have destroyed his life up to this point.
They're horrible.
And what do? They kind of try and throw him a scarf. They're like, "Hey, here, take this." Yeah. And
it flutters to the ground. No help at all.
Finally, they tell him the only way he's still got the potion in his pocket. So he thinks about it, but it's just not worth it. I mean, because he'd have to live with them for eternity.
Yeah.
So he drops the potion. We hear it smash, and then there's an amazing shot where the camera stays static. And what was the line, Sean? Sorry, ladies.
Sorry, ladies.
And then he drops.
Which almost feels like the Bob Hoskins falling in Roger Rabbit.
Oh, the green screen?
Right, yeah. You get that same feeling as he's falling.
But see, I think it would be a different film, but they could cut it right there. Because at that point, if I think that Ernie is the character. He's your hero of this journey. If they cut it right there, I think the same lesson is learned. But they don't.
It doesn't have the Tales from the Crypt ending.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt ending is that the evildoers have to get their
See, I actually, in a weird way, when they were...
It's always in a weird way.
Because then they go to, the funeral, and they're talking about, all this stuff. I actually thought that because he fell, right?
He fell into the pool and lived.
That he kept the potion because the potion fell into the pool too.
No,
he dropped it.
No,
he wouldn't take that.
The only thing that tells you that did not happen was you hear it smash.
Oh,
so
he went on to live
he died.
Life of doing things, multiple kids, doing fantastic things.
And they talk about how great of a life he had, about having the kid, how he had kids, and how he founded all these foundations, and then you see the 2
the Ernest Melville what was it for the study of women.
Yes, that's funny.
And then they're in the back and they're just kind of falling apart, and that's kind of funny. they're listening to how successful and fruitful his life was.
But do you notice? I mean,
their lives are.
They still make it about themselves. They interrupt his funeral. They're still screwing this guy over because like they're laughing and they're talking too loud and everybody's stopping.
I think Ernest got the last laugh
and looking back at him. And then Colin, what happens? Where's the Tales from the Crypt ending?
Well, it's just when we finally see them under the black mourning veils, they're decrepit. They've been repairing themselves.
Melting.
Yeah, the beauty is gone. I mean, they look terrible. And they're cat fighting out in front of the church, trip and fall down the stairs, and they break apart, which is kind of awesome. They come apart like mannequins,
they do,
and they're still alive. And so the last bit is like their heads laying on the ground,
and everything, and it looks like they're
park the car.
By this point, are they just like they're made out of carbon or something? Like the insides.
They're dry throughout, like brittle, and they could just break at a moment's notice.
That doesn't really happen, does it?
Right at the end?
I mean, I don't think anybody's kept.
It really happened.
I don't think anybody's kept the body around for 37 years.
By the time you get to the end, you turn into carbon.
Yeah.
We're all,
They smash it.
So I guess we wrap this thing up.
Unless anybody has any other insights or questions or comments on Death Becomes Her.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for having me over and being a special guest.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
This was cool as hell.
And Dave made us dinner tonight.
Saturday Night Freak Show.
Awesome.
Cheers to your health. There you go.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers and go. Yep.
Thank you again.
Everybody leave Brent out.
It was a good time.
All right, so wrap up. Start with Tom.
Was it Tom?
Brent picked the movie.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was yours? Colin, what are you doing?
Yes, Tom. Death Becomes Her. I've never seen this movie,
but I hate it. And here's why. Oh shit! I turned into Travis. Oh fuck.
Let's see. Death Becomes Her. I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable movie to watch. Was it a great movie? No, I wouldn't say it was a great movie. I think it falls into Brent's middling picks, maybe on the higher end of Brent's middling picks. He's not here to defend himself at all, so I can just keep on going. I don't know. It just reminded me. It's like I don't know. It's a dark comedy. I tend not to like actually dark comedies. Like it reminded me of Beetlejuice too much. And
do you not like Beetlejuice?
No, I do like Beetlejuice, but I think you'd be better served watching Beetlejuice than this. I don't think this movie it was a good movie, but I don't think it did anything. It's like it doesn't do anything awesome. It doesn't it's like if there's nothing to watch.
I love how you can contradict yourself within 4 words. That's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, it is. I love that. I love this movie, but I hate it because
interrupt somebody on their final.
Go
this
right
happens
ahead.
a lot.
What you got?
No, I'm letting you finish your final thought.
What you got?
Him not interrupting you.
Yeah. I just don't think it does anything phenomenal and great. I mean, I don't think this is Robert Zemeckis' best work by any stretch of the imagination. That being said, it's not terrible. I don't know. It's just a average movie. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was average. It's below Rain of Fire.
Oh, no.
The Rain of
Why?
Fire.
Oh, Brent came right back in time to enjoy the Rain of Fire scale.
All I heard was, I love this movie, but I hate it. And I heard that from the bathroom.
Well, yeah, you probably did.
Well, would you recommend it?
I recommend it if you ain't got nothing else.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
wow.
No, I don't. There's better things to watch.
All right. Death Becomes Her. I'm going to give this a recommendation. Watching it again tonight, I was reminded, again, I haven't seen it in years, but I'm reminded of how full of a vitality that it has. I mean, it's got, I said before it was whimsical, but it's a very. It's a movie that's full of life, which is kind of funny because that's what it's kind of about.
Brent, did you get that? You want me to explain that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Colin said it was full of life, and it's funny because the whole movie's kind of about like vanity and living forever and life.
Oh, because the title, it says death.
Right, but it's kind of like the opposite. Like they're dead, but it's life and they're alive and
all
that. Bruce Willis chooses to die, but he lives like his last years.
Because Bruce Willis was a ghost in Sixth Sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Sorry,
there it is.
You got to jump in and save my own wrap up. I think this is one of the best performances. This is one of the best atypical Bruce Willis performances of his career. I think, because he's a guy who, he started off physical comedy, ended up doing a lot of tough guy roles. That's pretty much like who he has become. So much so now that like he just phones it in. I mean, if you've seen A Good Day to Die Hard, and I don't by any means recommend that you see that movie.
No.
But it's like at this point he's like the washed up, Bruce Willis. It's unfortunate.
Yep, Hudson Hawk. Yep, we heard it.
Yeah, we heard Hudson Hawk, but that was from the era where he was taking chances and doing stuff that was interesting.
I thought Red was pretty good.
So
Looper's pretty good.
Don't worry, Colin, I'll cut that out.
But I also think that as far as like
he censors me a lot.
I do not.
We wouldn't deprive the word.
Let Colin finish.
I think this is historically. I think it's a Zemeckis movie. It's a movie that hasn't gotten a whole lot of love. Apparently, I mean, I don't know what the story is. I haven't looked into it, but it's available on DVD in a 4:3 standard version. That means that the DVD was issued back when there was 4:3 TVs were the norm, and it has never gotten a Blu-ray release that we know of, and it's never been issued in DVD again in some 16:9 format, which means this is an old, transfer of the movie. We watched it. You can get it on, streaming on-demand services, which is where we saw it in HD. But
Comp had to pay an extra $1 for
that. But it was worth it, damn it, to see it in high definition. It was. Like it was in the theater. This is a long-winded rap.
A bright, starry theater.
That'll be fixed. But the... now I lost my fucking train of thought.
I'm sorry, Colin.
All right, so what do we got? We got Bruce Willis, one of the all-time greats. Goldie Hawn, Where'd You Go? Meryl Streep, she's one of the great, actresses of all time. I mean, just some of the stuff that she was doing in this, was like, man, that's a really weird choice for that. Like, how do you even, when you see this written on a page, how do you interpret it that way? They all have like a gift for physical comedy, which is really cool. I dig it personally because it has a kind of a ghoulish edge to it. It does kind of go into like a dark Tales from the Crypt kind of horror thing. I was actually going to find out if Tom was disturbed by the ghoulish Goldie Hawn that has like the white eyes.
Yeah, I kind of was a little bit. Like her white eyes are really fucking creepy.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing her tonight when you go home, probably. It's a well-made movie. It's entertaining. It's funny. It's dark. It's gruesome. It's warped. I really dug it. I would give it a recommendation all the way.
I've seen this movie multiple times, but that was when it came out. It was nice to come hang out with new friends and watch the movie and have commentary on the Saturday Night Freak Show with Colin and everybody. And I was privileged to be a guest, and I thank everybody for allowing me to be here and drink beers and cook food and have a good time with everybody. And I thought the movie was great. I'll still think the movie's great, but I'm going to give you guys accolades no matter what, because I kind of want to come back. So,
you're welcome back.
I thought it was great.
Anytime.
No matter what, it was fun. This is a great time, and what you guys got going on here is fun.
You hear that, listeners?
You hear that? Yeah. You motherfuckers, show. Listen to this show.
Listen to this show, because if you listen to the show...
You should listen to the show.
We're going to use that as a pull quote.
Things in the near future, like...
I just want to point out how anybody that's listening to this right now is like, I am listening to the show.
Listen more.
I actually do listen to the show. I think the show's great.
Nice.
So it's a recommendation for
It is
Death
a
Becomes
highly recommended show.
That's a
And
recommendation.
also a recommendation for the Saturday Freak Show.
Oh, there you go.
Right? We got everything in that
I
one.
highly recommend it to everybody that knows what podcasts are.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
So cheers, everybody. I'm glad I got to be a guest. I'm very appreciative.
Woohoo!
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Those are clinking
Brent out.
glasses.
Is that Sean?
Death Becomes Her. I haven't seen this movie in about 10 years, but I remember watching this a lot as a kid and being in awe of the special effects of this movie. I mean, seeing it young, I mean, it's kind of incredible what you see. Like, I mean, back in the day, stuff like this I hadn't seen before. You know, the Goldie Hawn's hole in the stomach, like Meryl Streep getting her neck snapped around, or even when she gets it knocked backwards and it's behind her back, she's got to pull it back up and hold her head up, like stuff like that. I thought was great, and seeing it again, like I think it still holds up for me. I think you see. I still think you see a few things, like you see the stutter of the effects sometimes in this, but to me it all still works. I like the story. I still think it's funny. I love Bruce Willis actually acts, which is a great thing for me, because like we said, you don't see that anymore. So I appreciate that in this movie. I think all the actors work well together, have good chemistry, especially Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. I think it works very well. I recommend it. Definitely see it.
There you go. Yeah, Tom, I don't know what the deal is with you. Because I agree with these guys. Sorry.
Well, that's all. Brent always likes the movie, man.
Yeah, especially when it's my pick.
Brent likes his own movie.
Right.
Somebody stop the press.
Son of a bitch. Well, I don't know, man. He was kind of iffy on Event Horizon and Tango and Cash.
I'm pretty sure, didn't everybody for those two movies just be like,
okay, there were a couple movies that Brent picked that was like, I like it, but I don't know.
But I can see the flaws, yeah. Well, I'm always picking movies based on the nostalgia of... I feel like on this podcast I've said nostalgia 100,000 times.
Yeah, audience, you can drink it, you can play it, the nostalgia drinking game at home.
Could. Yeah. Nostalgia.
Do a shot every time he
drink
says
a whole can of, what do we got? The Beast?
Milwaukee's Best Light, the Beast.
The Beast Light. Every
if you
time.
want to be like Brent, you could drink the Beast Light and drink a whole can, shot, just like poke a hole in it.
They got it.
Chug it.
Thank you.
Nostalgia. There you go. Get going. Yeah, this film it's in my book, it's a classic. I mean, it's something that when I was like I said, I discovered Zemeckis early on. I discovered Back to the Future early on. It wasn't until later till I started to realize that there was somebody behind the camera directing this. And then once you discover that, you go back and you look at the other films. And I mean, when this came out, I was 12. So by that point, I was starting to understand, like Zemeckis is my guy, right?
What's your opinion of Romancing the Stone?
Romancing the Stone is great. I have fond memories of that too. Not going to the theater, but I saw that. I have like this visceral. No, is that the right word? I have like this very specific memory of sitting in my room, like we had bunk beds, me and my brother, and watching it on like this.
Careful where you're going with this. There wasn't a sock involved, was there?
Not another freak show.
No.
We could do Romancing the Stone.
Yeah, we could.
I'm sure it's coming.
Did he do Jewel of the Nile?
I'm sure it's coming at some point.
No,
I don't think he did Jewel of the Nile.
I don't think he did. Okay.
Jewel of the Nile. So we could do a double feature.
Oh, there you go.
Last time we did a double feature, didn't turn out too well.
Jewel of the Nile.
It did, dude.
Yeah.
Watch what Star Crash. That was fucking awesome.
Let's do that next time.
We could.
Yeah. Dave's coming back for that for sure. Before Sean was making my sweet memory a blue-collared joke. No, it was nothing. I remember watching it on this little 10-inch, it might have even been a black and white TV, but it was at that point. So, like, when did that come out? Because that was
84.
That was 84. That was before Back to the Future. I was watching it on TV, so maybe it had been, you know, I don't know what year it was, but anyhow, I was very young. And I remember watching it, like, specifically. Like, I might remember 4 memories from my youth.
All Zemeckis.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, because I've never seen Romancing, so I'm just trying to...
Yeah. No, it's up there. But, again, I'm biased. I'm biased to the man and his work. And going into this, I'm already going to like it, you know. Well, I shouldn't say that. Because if it is garbage...
Is there a Zemeckis movie that is garbage? He's a very good filmmaker. Like,
Yeah.
Used Cars.
I don't think I've seen Used Cars.
I think I've seen Used Cars.
Where they bury the old man in the backyard.
Is it good?
Like in the car.
I don't want to say it's
Wait, who's in Used Cars?
That's his first
It's
movie.
Kurt Russell.
Yes, I've seen Used Cars.
That's fabulous.
With Royale Fuchs and everything.
He's feuding with the guy across the street.
I've seen this movie. You haven't seen this movie?
No.
Oh, it's actually pretty good.
All right, that's coming to the freak show.
Okay,
too.
so he hasn't made... I don't think he's made a bad movie.
Everybody's out.
That's what we
Coming
do.
to old school Kurt Russell. Used Cars.
Cars.
During my wrap up.
Usually we fuck up your... I usually start to fuck up your wrap up. That's just what I do.
Well, you asked the question. That's understandable. So, yeah. So what did I say? I love Robert Zemeckis in a plutonic way.
Death Becomes Her.
Oh. Was that the movie we watched?
That is. Oddly enough.
I really liked the filmmaking.
Stop washing his balls.
I thought where he decided to put the camera and how he moved the camera was great. There's other things. There's actors in it.
There's actors, but they're unimportant.
He directed them.
Some kind of story, but really, like, the special features of this film is great. Death Becomes Her. I like everything about it. I like the fact that everything, like you guys said, it's a Tales from the Crypt story. It's a fairy tale type story. It's teaching you a lesson. I really like the fact that it was set in Hollywood, because that, I think it's an actor's movie. You go watch this to laugh at yourself about how ridiculous you are, about worrying about your image to the point of changing yourself, through whether it be getting Botox or liposuction or any sort of cosmetic surgery. It's taking away who you are as a person. You're becoming this plastic thing. I've looked at, like, it's not just actors, but I have, there are people in your life that you don't see for a while, and as they age, sometimes they'll do things that, like, wow,
Kenny Rogers, I'm looking at you.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Kenny Rogers. No. But you become a mannequin, and I think, like, this film is shining a light on that to an extent and making satire out of it. And I dig it. I like this movie a lot. And then it's like, on the surface, that's what it is. But then there's all these other levels of, like, the craft behind it. I mean, it's a well put together film. It's got a great score. It's well shot. Everything about it, I really like it. I really, really dig it. And I'm glad that most of you guys liked it too. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out right now.
4 out of 5 for Death Becomes Her. Counting was right. Yes, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
So, math still works. Addendum. If you like Death Becomes Her and you like the work that Robert Zemeckis has done in Tales from the Crypt, you should check out an episode of Amazing Stories that he did called Go to the Head of the Class with Christopher Lloyd. Have you seen that?
No.
You're a Zemeckis fan. You haven't seen it? Oh, my God. Okay, yeah. I got to loan that to you. Christopher, I'm not even going to tell you about it, but it has special. It's 1985, and it has special effects that are, you see where this movie is coming from. I mean, this guy is, got that mentality. Wow. Amazing Stories?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Isn't that with
Nimoy? Christopher Lloyd, where he was a teacher, and what's something else? So
fuck.
Yeah. So there you go.
No, fuck. You can say fuck.
Ball sack.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
Balls.
We've got an explicit rating on this podcast.
Definitely. This is a big ready next to us.
Yeah. So that's the Saturday Night Freak Show for this week. Next week, we're going to be watching Tom's pick. What are we going to be watching, Tom?
You're going to be watching a rock and roll fable. It's called Streets of Fire.
Sweet. Rockford natives in it.
Who?
Aiden Quinn.
He's not in Streets of Fire. We're going to look this up.
Look it up.
Oh, damn. All right, well.
So until now. All right, well, Dave looks this up. Until then, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio,
Podbay
FM, CastRoller, and one other that I can't remember. And on our website at SaturdayNightFreakShow.blogspot.com. And you can get a hold of us on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Saturday Night Freak Show, or you can use that ancient old technology of email at SaturdayNightFreakShow@yahoo.com. We want to hear from you. Hell, we'll even read your emails on the Freak Show.
Yeah, we're needy.
Still waiting.
So until next week, listeners, that's all we've got tonight. And I really don't have a good way to end this podcast.
No, we have no sign off.
Thanks for being out there, and thanks for letting me be a guest. And
was Aiden Quinn in it?
Wait,
was Aiden Quinn in it?
Aiden Quinn wasn't there.
He was.
I didn't.
That's it. No, it's official. It's put in the IMDb. Aiden Quinn was in it.
There you go.
We're done.
Until next week.